For most businesses, generating leads is already hard enough. But once you've mastered lead generation, actually being able to contact leads and have them pick up the phone is the next biggest challenge. I'm going to share with you the follow-up tips that have helped us get hold of leads and add an additional £20,000 in revenue for our business. And after sharing these tips with our clients and seeing how they were able to get hold of their leads and generate more sales, I thought it would be a great idea to share with the rest of the business community what we found is working so you can also do the same. Tip 1, not calling from a business phone number. And this more so applies to countries like the UK, where you can clearly tell the difference between a mobile number and a business phone number. So in the UK, mobile numbers start with 07, whereas business numbers start with 01, 02 or 08. And to share briefly how we even discovered this in the first place, is one of our clients, a law firm, we were generating 30 leads a week for them, and they were happy with the amount of leads we were generating, but they were struggling to get hold of the leads. And one day we were meant to have a call to basically sort out this particular situation. And when he called me, he called from a 012 number or 02 number. So I could tell that it was not a personal number, it was a business number. Now in the UK, normally when you get a call from a 01 or 02 or 08 number, people are trying to sell you life insurance, it's a cold call, it's something about an injury claim, maybe it's a survey. It's just a lot of random calls from random companies that are looking to actively sell you something. So as a norm, you get used to not actually picking up calls from those kind of people. So I saw the phone ring and I was not going to pick up the phone, but for some reason, I just decided to pick up the phone. And when I picked it up, I was expecting to maybe get pitched something by, as I said, a survey, life insurance, la-di-la-di-la. Now, when the client actually talked to me on the phone, that's when I realized, that's the issue. Because even myself, I was expecting a call from him, but I nearly didn't pick up his phone call because he was calling from a 01 number. He was calling from a business number and not a mobile number. And then it occurred to me that with all of our sales, we never call from a business number, we always call from a mobile number. And once we told the client to stop calling from that landline, that 01, 02 or 08 number, and start calling from a mobile number, immediately the amount of people that picked up skyrocketed. So if you're struggling to get leads to actually pick up the phone, it's a good chance that if you're ringing from a landline, a 01 or 02 or 08, a business number, they're probably seeing you as one of those spam calls, and as a result, they're not picking up the phone call. So start calling from a mobile number and it will completely change the game for you. It also worked for another one of our clients, an auditor, and he was looking at the lead quality and he could see, based off of his metrics, that the leads were really good, but he couldn't get hold of them. And the moment he started calling from a mobile number, all of a sudden, he was getting a lot more pickups. Follow-up tip number 2. Before you call the lead from your mobile number, not the business phone number, make sure you send them a text message beforehand with your name. And when you do that, there's a good chance that the AI software on their phone will actually pick up the fact that your name is there and it will show up on their phone as maybe this person's name, which means there'll be a higher chance of someone picking up the phone. So for example, say my name is John, I will send a text message saying, hey, it's John from XYZ company, to the lead before I actually call them, so that on their phone when I call them, it will show up with maybe John, and then there's a higher likelihood that they'll pick up because they think they actually know the person who's calling. Follow-up tip number 3. When you're calling, make sure to call twice, both on your normal phone call and on WhatsApp call as well. And the reason why we call twice is because let's say someone's phone is on Do Not Disturb, then there's a good chance when you ring them the first time, it may just go straight to voicemail, but the person could actually be on their phone. So if you give them a call twice, then your call will actually go through and you will be able to get hold of the lead. I also recommend calling on WhatsApp as well, because for some reason, sometimes people don't pick up a phone call on normal call, but they actually do pick up the call on WhatsApp. So when you call on both WhatsApp and on mobile, it increases your pickup rates dramatically. And we've even seen it ourselves with some of our clients when we couldn't get hold of the person on normal call, but the moment we called them on WhatsApp, they do pick up. And it could potentially be that maybe the place that the person is in, maybe it doesn't have good signal and they're connected to the Wi-Fi, so they pick up that way. But from what we've seen in general, it's just always best to call on both WhatsApp and phone call. Obviously calling on phone call first, and then still sending that text message to both WhatsApp and phone as well. Follow-up tip number 4. Calling the lead at the right time. We found this works really well in a B2C context, business to consumer. For example, it's calling leads between 5 and 7 or maybe 5 and 8 p.m. And that's because between 5 and 7 or 5 and 8, the person has finished work and it's much easier to get hold of them because, of course, they're not at work. I'd also recommend calling between lunchtime, 12 to 1, maybe 12 to 2 as well, because that's when we normally find that our clients are actually able to get hold of most people. And if you think about it as well, if you're a business who is focusing on B2C and your office open hours are 9 to 5 and people are working 9 to 5, and you have no one calling from 5 to 7 or 5 to 8, then there's a high chance that a lot of people who would actually pick up your calls are not actually going to get called or not going to see your call because they're actually at work. So that's just something to kind of factor in. It's not to say that you can't call people during the day. I definitely would still call people from 9 to 5, but just know that if you call from 5 to 7, especially in a B2C context, then you have a much higher chance of getting hold of people. Similarly, we found that it also works very well in the B2B context as well, but more so when you're actually targeting, let's say, the business owner and not an employee. Targeting a business owner, let's say between 5 and 6 p.m. after they finish work is normally really effective, but of course still call them throughout the rest of the day as well. Follow-up tip number 5, having text message automations to notify you when a new lead comes in. When a new lead comes in, you want to get hold of them as quickly as possible. I'm sure many of us have heard the 5-minute rule or the 2-minute rule. And basically, in essence, when you get hold of the lead, literally as soon as they've actually become a lead, there's a much higher chance that you will actually get the sale and the conversion in the end. However, what we do to take it to the next step is, let's say a lead comes in, and we contact that lead, but we can't get hold of that lead there and then. What we also do is we send a text message automation to that lead, and we send them a text that has an open-ended answer. So basically a text that would actually get the person to respond to it. And we have an automation on our end that every time we get a response, we get notified. So for example, we would send a message along the lines of, "Hey John, we saw you showed interest in our recent training. Are you still looking to get more leads for your business?" And inevitably, when John actually sees that text message, he might reply with yes, no, or whatever answer he replies with. We immediately get an automation, a notification to us, letting us know that he's replied to the message. So as soon as he replies to the message, we call him straight away. And that just really helps with being able to get hold of leads when they're actually on their phone and actually in a position where we can contact them easily. Follow-up tip number 6, book a meeting from a meeting. I heard this from one of my mentors in the past, and he always said to me that every time you have a meeting with a client, make sure you book a meeting from that meeting for the next meeting. And the reason why is that it just helps with motivation in terms of the client can, let's see on their calendar, they can see that they have a meeting with you. So in their head, you're always going to be top of mind. So maybe let's say it's a 3-day time period between your first meeting and your second meeting, then they're going to be thinking a bit about what it is that you're actually offering in the meantime. So then when you do call them back, there's a higher chance they've already had a thought about what you offer, and you're not just having that second call and they have no clue what has happened, or you're not even able to get them in for another call because you never booked them in the first place. And it also gives you the opportunity to send text message reminders and email reminders, and also add in some value-based content within those text reminders and email reminders to also help sell them on your service a bit more as well. And even just in general as well, from what we've seen, I guess the way humans are is if you don't give them a tangible next step to actually take, then more often than not, they actually don't do anything about it. So letting someone know there's a meeting this time, which is a follow-up meeting, it just helps with having a higher chance of actually getting more sales. And we've seen this work really well for our business as well. We've never let a client leave without booking them in for another conversation. And finally, follow-up tip number 7 is having a retargeting strategy to make sure you actually warm up your leads so there's a higher chance that they'll convert. And what that means is after someone has, let's say, clicked on an ad or become a lead, if they see you everywhere, they can't stop thinking about your service and what you offer. So when it comes to making the sale, it's going to be a lot easier. So what we do is we have retargeting ads and retargeting strategies, which is email campaigns, SMS campaigns, and of course paid advertising campaigns, to make sure that we stay top of mind with our clients. And we've seen it work really well to the point where when we have a meeting with a person, they see that they've seen us everywhere. And once they've seen us everywhere, we're always top of mind, so that it makes it a lot more easier to get the sale because they're always thinking about your service. If that retargeting strategy sounds like something that could help your business get more sales, click the next video here and we'll walk you through the exact way that we help our clients actually not only generate leads, but retarget them so that those leads are more likely to become sales. And if you want to generate more leads and more sales for your business, click the link in the description below and you'll get access to our training that shows exactly how we've been able to generate more leads and more sales for our business and for some of our clients as well.